Welcome to the private podcast, everyone. In this episode, we're going to explore a case study of a physician coach inside trauma-informed physician coach training who's been certified. And this is going to be very special training. If you're following on YouTube, I am in a hotel. I normally don't present with beds in the background, but I'm moving across the country. So delighted to have Case here. Case, tell us everything about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, Christina. So I am Caissa Troutman. I'm a midlife and metabolic health physician with my own practice in Pennsylvania, and I help high-achieving women lose weight and master menopause.
Amazing. Amazing. We're just going to get right to it because people are fascinated about your story. So you hit milestones, really like beautiful milestones that we want to celebrate and acknowledge. But we also want to ask you how you did that. So very early on in your year with us, you quickly doubled your patients and turned in your 90-day notice to urgent care. Can you tell us about what helped you create that result?
I mean, so many things, right? But I think the major change that TIPCT coaching has done for me is just being comfortable with a lot of the things I was uncomfortable before. Um, so um, so
Like
like
what?
like for example, like giving offers, talking, being not being I wasn't shy necessarily, but I know I had to be out there because I have a micro practice. It's not a regular kind of insurance run practice, so you had to be more uh present in other people's lives and etc. So there was a lot of as a physician entrepreneur, it's like self-discovery, which is kind of why I joined, your tip individual, tip CD program anyway. But so it was a lot of like figuring out what was my barrier. And
Mhm.
then from there, you coached me and the group coached me about like, okay, maybe this would be a good path. So yeah, that's a general answer. And we can kind of talk about
Ah,
specific,
so good.
you
So,
know.
what barriers did you identify and how were you able to overcome them this year?
How much time do you have? Because there's so many barriers.
What's the first thing that comes up? What was like the main thing or
Let's
whatever?
let's see. Let's talk about the 90-day notice to my urgent care. I
Yeah.
think it's the scarcity that money
Mhm.
was not, that money was hard to get or money was hard to create. And I wanted the safety net of a PRN job. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's what we always
Mhm.
know. There's nothing wrong with that. But I also recognize that the times I was working in the urgent care was time away from me building my dream practice because it
Mhm.
was, taking up energy and time and, I was exhausted, a lot of, all that stuff. Um, so I wanted the safety net. And so it was a combination of looking at the math and
Mhm.
all that to finally decide that uh, I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I think so many that I have these discussions with physician women who look to their physician job as the safety net, but really, if it's the thing that's keeping you from building a business where you make more money than a doctor and you have your own, you control your schedule, it's not a safety net if it's keeping you from the thing you really want. And in a conversation we had early on, which I had with a lot of the coaches, is okay, look at the math. Because if you're saying to me, I can't retire because of money, but you have no idea how much money you have, then you actually don't know. And so it wound up being for many women physicians, when they look and see, they're like, wait, the math doesn't even, this happened for me. Like, this doesn't even make sense for me to be in medicine because it's a pay cut for me to be here. And then it made it very easy to go full time in my business. So I love that
And
you
that
did.
was one of my barriers too, was like, I hate looking at the math. Like, I did not want to look at the math. Like, that was,
Yeah.
I don't know how I survived being an adult without looking at the math, but I did not. So there, again, big money scarcity story kind of behind all of
Mhm.
that. So yeah.
Well, it makes sense if you have if you have fear around money that you wouldn't want to look, but the opportunity you miss is that wait a minute, the math is reassuring.
Yes.
It's showing me there's so much money and I've been creating so much in my business, so much so I could leave. And one of your milestones is also you tripled your salary as you rewrote your money story. So tell us, what is your new money story today?
That I can create revenue. Um, and I can I can do it if I had zero right now. Like I can do it now. Before I was like,
Mm,
oh, I had to make everything fit.
mhm.
Everything had to be perfect. Everything had to like line up. And now that voice is quieter. It's gone, but it's quieter that I can generate income and it's not I can do it. I don't know if
Yeah, yeah,
that's it, you know.
amazing. Well, I think you just said two really powerful things that our listeners are going to be blown away by. Is that I want to point out you can make money while your voice is like, I'm scared of making money. You can do both at once. And it's okay, even though you've doubled your patients, 90-day notice, triple your salary, that voice is still there and it's not a problem. So how have you learned to not make that voice a problem?
Yeah, and I think that's still an ongoing process, to be honest. You know, I think as most humans, I do not like discomfort. I don't like like guilt or kind of failure, the sense of failure, shame, all that stuff, right?
Mhm.
So now with coaching, it's like it's okay. I know there's nothing. I mean, that's all I can. The way I've looked at it, it's like it's okay. It how and maybe just and how I've seen it is like how can it be something that helps me?
Mhm. Well, I think the point you bring up is that that voice is there and it's not a problem if you're in a coaching container that can support you.
Yeah.
And so, what I love about our group is that we're teaching you how to coach, but then we're also coaching because nothing will bring up all your traumas faster than building a business. Like it just a lot of stuff comes up. And it's not a problem if you're in a container that can say, hey, listen, we can write a new money story. And so I
Mm.
remember when we were in Niagara Falls, I remember on the couch, and I remember this new money story came out that was like, whoa, this work is changing people's lives. People want to pay me money. They want this result. They will pay for this result. The money doesn't have to be hard anymore.
Yes.
And when that story is there, now offers become simple because it's not selling pressure, bro marketing. It's like, no, no, no. This is a life-changing service
Yeah.
that you can come into or not, but it can be from service.
Absolutely. Yes. That coming from service is huge, huge because it's not salesy and we literally can change people's lives. Yes. So it feels like the big secret that I have to make sure I share. Like it's not a secret. Like
Right.
I'm like it's a disservice if I don't share it kind of thing.
Right. And so for the listeners to hear, like that's how most physicians start thinking that they have some story about money or selling, some version of that that keeps them small because you can't create clients if you're not sharing your offer. And then when you're being coached, no, 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 no. This is a really good secret. People are dying for this. This will make their life so much better. Now it's like you can't help but grow, triple your salary, for example. Amazing. And then for our listeners, is something we teach in the program is we don't teach selling as much as it's a concept called selling like a doctor. It's this process of through service, through value first, through helping people, because that's what we've done our whole careers. We've never sold a medicine. We don't have to start now. Okay, amazing. Oh, so people are let's go back to the beginning of your journey. What got you? How did you find me?
Yes, so I found you through your podcast. I listened on my drives to work. And then I signed up for the group coaching for life
Yeah.
and got coached during the sessions in group
Okay.
coaching. And as I decided to, sign up for the TIPCT when I was in the midst of this is the first year of my physician entrepreneur
Okay.
journey. Like
Okay.
I need a container. I need help. And I think I've shared this with you. Like, I didn't want to be a coach. I just needed help. I wanted
Oh,
help for me.
wow.
And now it's like
Hmm.
what I've learned, the lessons I've learned, not just self-discovery. My patients get the benefit of what I've learned and
Mm,
how I apply it. Yeah.
amazing. We talked about your money beliefs. Is there anything else that comes up, like stands out when you think about the lessons you've learned this last year that directly impact your patients too?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's the being a mom, being a
Mm,
human being. And to me, that's such a big part of my identity. And I've I've carried a lot of identities that don't serve me anymore.
Mhm.
That was a consequence of being a breadwinner, so all that stuff,
Mhm.
mom guilt, all that stuff. So being a better human, being a better mom, I
Mhm.
think, I mean, has absolutely impacted how I talk to my patients, because my patients are also kind of like moms, and they all have
Right.
similar kind of stories.
Oh, it's so amazing. Tell me if you can, if you can think of it, is one like because we have pretty much everyone who listens to me is a physician mom. What is one thing you've kind of learned from this about parenting that you could help another mom who's listening to the podcast right now, or a patient if it comes to whichever one,
Yeah.
or
Oh,
both?
how do I distill it into one? I mean, I can tell you what's top of
Yeah,
mind,
tell
although
us
it's
top of
not the
mind.
one, is again, I've kind of struggled a lot with the mom guilt,
Mhm.
of feeling that I wasn't there as much physically for my kids because I was working a lot, right? And we're
Mhm.
all work 60, 80-hour work weeks. But then really when I look at it, actually I was there for my kids. It was just this perception that I wasn't there because I wasn't the typical, you
Mhm.
know, dinners and, like being at all the plays and all that, which I think all
Mhm.
of us physician moms, we've had some sort of similar trade-offs to
Yeah.
that extent. And to me, so the latest kind of lesson slash awareness is um, that I did the best in the situation I was presented, and I was caring for my family in my own way, maybe not the way I thought, but and I was okay with that. Like I don't know how do I say that? Like I made peace with that of
Mhm.
sorts,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
is a big deal because I would always struggle with that quote
So
unquote
what
mom guilt.
and what we did in the last call was emotional processing of
Yes.
the guilt.
Yeah.
Just really beautiful. And it's like if you think emotional processing for everyone who's listening, it's an advanced trauma informed skill, and it allows people who have might moms who have might have held on to guilt for decades. It allows them to release it and like in potentially 15-minute call, or at least explore it. And um and so it is interesting. People come in. It's interesting your story that you came in not wanting to be a coach, and you were still able to create these milestones of turning your 90-day notice and tripling your salary, because coaching really does infuse, like, it just makes every part of your life better.
Yes.
You can't help it. You can't help make more money when you're happier in your home and you've reconciled, healed some money trauma.
Yep. And I have
Okay.
teenagers, two teenagers now. And that parenting a
Mm-hmm.
teen is such a challenge in itself. So lots of kind of like lessons about presence and not
Mm-hmm.
correcting and not, just understanding. So many things. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
And
I agree with you. Mine the same. Coaching has made my parenting so much better,
mhm.
so much less pressured, and so much more like under. I think it would help at any age. I was just talking to someone who has I think a 5-year old, and she was saying that she did emotional processing with her 5-year old, and her 5-year old loved it,
Oh, that's
because
amazing.
kids at that age, they don't have the decades experience we have as moms of, you're not supposed to feel this way. This is weak. You don't have no time for feelings. Like, they're so connected to their body that it helped her 5-year old. And it's like these skills definitely change our children's lives for the better.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Isn't that amazing?
Hmm.
Okay, so a lot of people listening have no idea what trauma informed means at all. What does it mean to you?
So to me, trauma informed really just means self-empowerment without the inner critic being too loud.
Mm,
And maybe that's not how I don't know. That's how I look at it. That's
beautiful.
how
It's
it's been for my life.
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. I remember for coaching, like, how I describe it to people new in coaching is, imagine you have a radio station. Whatever, when you're not talking, the dialogue that's happening in your head is the radio station you're tuned into. What is the song you're listening to? And before coaching, it was constant. My inner critic was constantly, you're not doing it right, you're behind, you're not a good mom, like all of it. And with trauma from coaching, you just get to kind of turn the dial to something that feels more calm and peaceful.
Yep.
So
Yep.
powerful.
And my favorite line that I'm gonna steal
Tell
from
me.
you is that I am whole, perfect, and complete.
Mm,
Right? Yeah.
so beautiful. It's so
So
beautiful. And we stretch that also to our patients.
yes.
Our children are whole,
Yeah.
perfect, and complete.
Yeah.
When we're there now, okay, we want them all to get A's, and also if they have a bad day at school, we're not like torpedo down and they're going to live in the basement forever. We're like, no, 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 no. They're whole, perfect, and complete, and they also had struggled with chemistry tonight. Yeah,
Yeah.
how's you parenting so much differently?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you apply trauma informed? What would it look like to apply trauma informed skills to your patients? And then I'll ask you about business building.
Yeah, yeah. So I deal with midlife women, aka it's kind of like me, who've struggled, with the perimenopause, menopause symptoms, which is also me, and who've struggled with weight and want to live healthier lives, which is also me. There's so much parallels or Venn diagram of
Mm,
midlife women who are experiencing perimenopause, menopause symptoms, and are being gaslit and are being
mm,
told that it's in your head. Also, patients that struggle with weight that have repeatedly tried to lose weight and have not been successful long. We've all kind of had the inner dialogue, inner critic, right?
mhm,
So practicing trauma informed coaching, I'm able to meet them with like how can how can we rewire those default thoughts that haven't
mhm.
helped you, and how can we find new empowering thoughts that will help you
Yeah,
for both populations?
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, because it is like you healed your money story, so you learned how to change that. So now you can help people hear their story with their weight, for
yeah,
example.
yeah.
Well, okay, what about business building? How do you use trauma informed? I guess we kind of talked about that with money, but I wanted to like circle back. Is anything else that you've noticed with your business building skills where having trauma informed coaching was helpful, or the resources in the group?
I mean, so one of the things that I do in my practice is so I have a hybrid model where I do one-on-one and group sessions. So I think one of the things that I've kind of learned to do is with trauma informed coaching is just not be, as physicians, we're used to being the agent of change, like it has but with group sessions, I'm really like a moderator, and it
Mm,
is my patients in the group session that heal each other, that support each other, and their story touches other people's stories. So in a way, that for me was an not outlet, like product of that, and they just hear each other's stories and they're like
so
healed by
good.
it, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. So, a couple things I want to point out. Three things I want to point out that you said that I think are so fascinating. First of all, I've never heard TIPCT used before, and I'm going to use it from now on because I'm
Okay.
TIP. I always get kind of like it's too many letters to remember. TIPCT, genius. So, thank you so much.
Yes,
And
you're
two, for
welcome.
people who are listening who may not have a niche, Case just illustrated, and this is the philosophy in our program. We always recommend pick a niche that's your story because once it's your story, you're an expert in it. You never have to worry about imposter syndrome. So notice she picked her story. It establishes you as an expert. Amazing. And and what Case is doing now is she's scaling. The model of going from one-on-one to group is a scaling model where you're able to deliver more results faster and at a higher revenue rate. So it what helps along the way is she was able to hear her money story so she can change business models. It's interesting. What we learn in medicine is that time comes from hours. It comes from if you want more money, you need to do more RVUs. And in the coaching space, it's very different. In the coaching space, you can scale not on your time. And that's how we teach it in TIPCT is don't scale your problems with time, fix your problems, and then scale your profit, which is so beautiful to see how you're using TIPCT. Okay, tell us about your favorite parts of TIPCT.
Oh, favorite part, hands down, is the live event, which we had
Um,
in Niagara. It's so amazing. I mean, from the start to finish. Lots of, I mean, like, having your private chef was super
Mm,
amazing, number one. And then again, just like a lot of the processing, the small groups that we did, the partnering up and doing one-on-one with each other was, I
mm,
think, the best part of it. That I walked away from that experience, having my own healing, again, with the money story.
mhm.
So that would be, I mean, that's one hands down, that I would say
Love
for
that
sure.
too. It was so fun. For the listeners, we rented a really beautiful property right on the Niagara Falls, the river, and then we went to see the Niagara Falls and we flew a private chef in and we just spent the whole day coaching, co-working, doing one-on-ones, group coaching. And I taught I think 3 or 4 lessons as well. So it was such a like a condensed experience. And I think everyone felt like they left life changed and the food was
Yeah.
incredible. So
And exactly. And one of the things really I like about group coaching, which is why I love group sessions, is
Mhm,
just meeting people that I probably would
mhm.
not have met if we were not in that same container. And because we're in different fields, we're in different it's just amazing to meet other human beings that even though we're kind of totally different, we're also
Yeah.
kind of the same in our
Mm,
hang-ups and what,
yeah.
again, the shared
Yeah.
humanity that we have.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Because yeah, we at that event we had people from all over the country. Some
Mhm.
people were fully in their coaching practice. Some people were fully in medicine, academic researchers, private practice, different fields. And what felt amazing is it felt like we were all sisters, even though
Yes.
we didn't
Yep.
look alike at all in our demographics or life history, but it felt like just like incredible. So
Yeah.
I loved it too. I could tear up thinking about it. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
if you look back at your year with us, anything surprise you about TIPCT that you didn't expect?
Um, so honestly, like, remember when I joined, like, I didn't expect to be I wasn't in it to be a coach.
Hmm.
So now I'm surprised at how far I've come with like zoning in on what could be what a person is saying
Mm-hmm.
or a person's story, and like, okay, I can identify, and I could kind of sense or see like this might be the thought that's been on their default thought that's the barrier to for them to get the results
Yeah.
they want. So that, I
Mm,
guess, in a way, that's how I apply it to my own patients,
yeah.
right? If they tell me a story, can see what is their block and can help them with that block.
Wow. I mean, this is a secret why trauma from coaching helps doctors be better doctors because you can see things you wouldn't have seen before. And if once you see it, now you know how to put a strategy together like, oh, you feel this way about vegetables or whatever. You feel this way about eating after midnight. Now you can coach them on and get them the result that they wouldn't get in another container.
Right.
So with physicians, and then also I really see that parallel with like with husbands, with kids. Now you see it life differently.
Hmm.
Amazing. Tell us about so part of TIPCT, the advanced certification which you were in, and that track is an upgrade. It's got more, it has one-on-ones and more high-level support. There's a project that comes along with it. Tell us about what did you do for your project?
Oh, before I tell you the product, one thing I want to
Okay.
share was about the
Yes.
husband stuff, right?
Okay.
Like, what? So in terms of how like like the relationship has changed, I just kind of
Mhm.
came up to me. So
What?
my husband was had raised his voice at me in a discussion, which is not unusual, but previously I would be like biting back, and like, "Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah." And then I like looked at it as like, this is his reaction is out of proportion to the trigger. There
Mm.
must be something going on behind.
Wow.
I did that like in real
Wow.
time, which is far cry. Like, I think when
Wow.
I started, it would be like, argument, and then I would have zero introspection. And then the next step was argument, and then like introspection and understanding after, like,
Right.
maybe the next
Yes.
day or 2 hours later. And then now it was like, you know, so that would be, I guess, the progression and how it's
Wow.
affected my
Yeah.
marriage. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Incredible. Incredible. So, for the listeners, something that we focus on as soon as you join, you get access to the foundation course. We teach you how to, what Case is describing is how to recognize a trauma response and repair it. And the faster you're able to implement that, the better your relationships get. So you don't have to spend an hour being mad at that man, right? Or
Right?
days not talking or not sleeping or overeating. Like you just get like, you're like, oh, I see what's happening.
Or just
He's
being
not doing right.
upset, right? Like, because when you're upset at
Yeah.
someone, it's kind of like kind of gnaws at you. And now it's like, oh,
Right.
this is why.
Oh,
So yeah.
so
Just
amazing.
thought I'd give like a live
I
example
love that. Thank you.
of that.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I will say, husbands love when their wives join this program. I get feedback from the husbands who are like, life is so much better now that my wife knows how, whatever you're doing, my wife is so much happier now, which makes their lives better too. So,
Yes. My husband did not um what do you call it? Did not say no when I said I'm gonna sign up again.
mm.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it's
amazing.
fully supportive, I should
What do you
say.
think that's about? Why was husband like, yeah, you should sign up again?
Yeah, because he's seen the impact, right?
Mm,
It is an investment, but the results of the investment, it is what's the term? The ROI has definitely like come back in more than one form. So
amazing.
marriage, better parenting, better
Mm.
self-awareness, self-confidence, and just being better.
Mm, amazing. So there are two tracks that people are sometimes they get confused. The more common question, I guess, what's the difference between the group and advanced certification? These two different tracks. How did and the group is you get access to the library, the same calls. The advanced certification, you get an advanced certification and a badge when you do a project and you get private coaching. It- How did you pick between the two?
Well, I did the group coaching first. I was in your
I
the
mean,
coaching for life session.
yes. So within TIPCT, there's the group version of it. They're the folks who are there at the live weekly calls and have access to the library, but they're not going to get certified.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
then there's
yeah.
the advanced certification, which is the people who came to Niagara Falls. We're all in the advanced
Oh
certification.
yeah, 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 yeah.
How did you pick between those two options?
Oh, it's because I'm a doctor and I like certifications.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Me too. I'm like, wait a second, why would I even consider not getting certified? Um, that's so great.
Remember, I'm quadruple board certified. I like that certifications. No, no, and again, actually, I've healed that part of me that needs like I don't know. I think it was like I'm just gonna go all in a way.
Mm,
So
amazing. Yeah, that's what I would do too. Okay. Tell us about your project. What was your project for advanced
yeah.
certification?
So my project was it was about oh, it was looking at weight loss and midlife with and looking at it with self-compassion. So I actually created a video series for my patients that I recorded talking all about self-compassion and how what were like the five common default thoughts midlife women going through weight loss think of and how to just look at it in a different way. Not necessarily that it's a bad thought, but just like how could it be a fight or flight or freeze or fawn
Mm,
reaction and just creating awareness, so my patients had access to that on the library. Honestly, it was more really a project for me as always. It was like um recognizing myself in those thoughts like I'm a
mm,
failure. If I fail once that's it, the gray and white
okay.
black and white
Yeah.
thinking. So it was kind of looking at it like, okay, this was this kind of reaction and it's okay. And what's maybe the first bridge thought that they could think of?
Ah, amazing. Okay, so if someone's thinking I'm a failure, what would be the first bridge thought?
Maybe you're not a failure. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very specific, right? So,
Mhm.
so let's say failure at weight. First thing I'd kind of show them is like, you're maybe you're not a failure in other aspects, and what was
Mhm,
what was going
mhm,
on in those as other
mhm.
job titles,
Yeah.
whatever, and yeah, that's how I would approach that in a
Yeah.
way.
I love to
Challenge that truth,
it's
right?
so beautiful is I love that. I love everything you said. And starting and also like finding like, well, how exactly does that make you feel? Like for example, someone gained 20 pounds after they stopped the GLP-1 and they're saying they're a failure. Like, how exactly does that make you feel? Like figure like trauma informed coaching is figuring out how does that make them a failure? Because behind that thinking is probably something like you had a money story, like they had some story that you'll have to be perfect to do this, or right. Because we can challenge it. It doesn't have to be a failure, it could just be data, it could be information. Oh,
Mm.
maybe I need to be on the GLP-1 one longer, or oh, maybe I need to have my hormones tested. Is looking at life as data versus looking at everything as a deep, like existential thing, meaning we're bad people. What a
Yeah.
difference that makes, right?
Yeah. And again, it's one of the things you also teach us, like, is it true? Is it true?
Yeah,
Like what does failure mean? Like,
yeah,
all that stuff. So
yeah, yeah. And I love like the other, like the places to go is why aren't you allowed to fail ever?
yeah.
Like, what if I don't know about you, but my biggest failure moments one of being because then I recovered the defining parts of my life because I let myself fail. Amazing. Okay. So beautiful. Anything else you want to say about your project?
I would say so. What's funny is I did that, and then I created like 5 or 10 more. I mean, it's like,
Oh,
I think kind of once you start, like you kind of like, oh, I can do this, I can do that,
yeah.
So
Yes. I love it. So for our listeners, the part of the project is to have more high level touch points with me. So it feels like a more private mentorship. And like Kay said, everyone who's done a certification project, all of them will say I started it for this, for the business. It wound up being like a profound personal growth story, which is, I think, the best part about becoming a coach is the first person you're going to heal is yourself. And
mm,
that's an amazing thing. But strategically, we also do it so that you know you're going to get an ROI. You know you're leaving this program with assets, tangible assets that can make you money. So, all those things. Loved your project.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else you
And
want to say?
isn't that like a better person, a better human becomes a better doctor? Like that, like
Mm,
I think you've said it too, like
yeah.
you are your best ROI. Like a better
Yeah.
us is gonna be the best ROI, even if we didn't have that asset. Just but
Right.
obviously,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. I agree. It's so different because in medicine, if the focus is always on others, the just it's inherently when what does the boss want, what does the leadership want, what do the patients need, and so of course like it's just always outward. And coaching is like what do I need? It starts as the opposite. What do I need? And then when we feel strong and healed, we create like 100 times more impact in
yeah,
our families, our husband, our patients, as you're describing. It's profound.
yeah. And that's why I've been in your coaching even before I did my own job. And I think I would like to say that being in your group coaching was instrumental in
Mm.
me making the decision to jump off that proverbial cliff, as I always say, to open my own practice.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
I
so
didn't know that. Okay, so for everyone, the group she's referring to is Next Level Freedom. It's my lifetime group coaching program. And many people start there and then they decide, oh my gosh, coaching's amazing. I want to be a coach. And then they move over to the coach training. So tell me more about that. Joining that group helped you open your practice because
let's see. Well, I think it's just I just became more aware of what I wanted,
mm,
and also what I didn't want. I was more aware of my potential. I was more aware that I did not want to continue being in the environment, like as an employee where I don't have autonomy and I don't have control over how, I mean, and I think every doctor knows this, right? How to practice medicine. So um,
mm,
I think if I wasn't in coaching, I think I would have been content to stay where I was.
interesting. Wow.
So, I think coaching opened my eyes to that, like that there's something more, and my life is, I could do more with my life. And if I did not succeed, part of it, because there's that fear, right? Like, what if you fail? What if you fail? So there was a lot of wrestling with that thought,
Mm,
of going out on your own and stuff. So yeah, yeah.
wow,
So
that's profound.
awareness and recognizing that there's more out of life.
Wow, it's profound. So it is so interesting. And I think this is a question a lot of physicians come to is what if I fail? And first of all, for many physicians, they will become a coach and they will stay in medicine and they will just get paid top dollar and have a great schedule and a fantastic life. So for those who are out there who are like who decide that option, that's amazing. Case, it sounds like you were the breadwinner and you decided that there was just another way for life to
Mhm.
unfold for you. And it's such an and this is why a fundamental belief I have is you cannot become a successful coach unless you have coaching, because these thoughts come up and on our own we will shut everything down, right? Because
Mhm.
that question, who would open a coaching practice if they think they're going to fail? And in coaching we would explore and also what if you succeed?
Right.
If
Yeah.
I looked back 5 years ago and to Christina, the life coach school is where I certified. It was about $20,000 for 6 months. There was no physician coaching. They didn't teach you how to make money. But if someone said you're going to spend $20,000 and then you're going to make more than a doctor coaching about 1 hour a day, all you need to get started is you just need 1 hour a week to learn this tool. I'd have been like, girl, take my money, right? But in coaching, it's this idea of what we try to help with trauma from coaching is what if you could believe in yourself before you have the facts? So many physicians are, it's successful if the grant goes through. It's successful if I imagine this program. But that kind of thinking has you on a hamster wheel of always overworking versus instead in trauma from coaching, we're like, what if you could just believe it's happening at the very beginning and then just spend your time creating it versus being scared of failing?
Hmm. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you succeed. Well, you clearly are succeeding. Okay. Thinking back about your year, what are you most proud of?
Um, I think I'm most proud of my ability to think of stretch goals. Like I did so many things
Mhm.
that I think any sane person probably wouldn't do. Like, so one of the things I did is like I hosted an exchange student, in
Ah,
a household that already has two teenagers.
wow.
So
Yeah.
had full support from my husband, of course, and he's an
We
amazing
love your
kid.
husband. Yes.
What's that?
I
Oh,
we
you love
love
my
your husband. He is like such a
yeah,
supportive
yeah.
man.
He is. Um, and so just like stretching. So let's see. Just my ability to just be okay with like trying out new things. I don't know if I told you this. I
Yeah.
don't think I did. I did ballroom dancing the other month.
I want to see pictures of this.
Well, there's no
Yeah.
pictures, just so you know. But just like loving life and just like
Right.
what if like like I'm just saying yes to things that I probably wouldn't say yes, like because if I just use my normal doctor brain and
Mm,
looking at all the pros and cons and I probably wouldn't say anything, right? I would
true.
just do the default. So now I'm like, what if? So that I think
Mm.
that's extended not just in my own medical practice, but it's also extended to my personal life and like stuff like that. So yeah.
I want every listener to hear what Case just said. That was so profound. I did what, because of joining, I did what no one else would do. I decided to say yes to life. I didn't listen to my normal doctor brain who's like, work, 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 work. I decided to ask more like, what if? What do I want to do? I think that like synopsizes the result. If we look at everyone who went through trauma informed physician coach training, like that's the result we're trying to get to is this ability to say yes to you in this life that you love.
Mhm.
So profound, but tell us like how did you do that? How did you go from how exactly did you put Dr. Brain down to say yes to life?
Well, so first of all, Dr. Brain is still there, right? Just a little quieter, and a little like quieter. I'd say I don't know. How do I? If I think I figure out what I want slash
Mhm,
decided on goals. Values. For other
mhm,
people would say that, and have like intent. Try and make intentional choices that kind of follow that. But that sounds so vague. But the reality is, it's like I have an idea. I
yeah.
try and make the most each day
Mhm, mhm.
and to follow those steps. But some days I win, some days I don't. So I don't want people to think like, oh my God, she has it all figured. I don't have it all figured out. But
You have a
You just try
lot
your best.
figured out. I think you do have it all figured out. Here's what I saw as the coach, and this is what I teach you all. I don't know I articulate it, but this is exactly what's happening. Is we practice trauma informed coaching. Like why it's different than any other coaching is we practice embodiment. And we practice connecting to your intuition. So when your doctor brain is work, 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 how does that feel, Case? Overwhelming, suffocating. I can't. Okay, that just that recognition that that brain wanting to work all the time is that's what's causing so much of the suffering. We find a way to first see it, and then we say, okay, now go into your body, connect to your intuition. We have processes for this. What does your body want? Well, that's when your body was like, let's get that exchange student. I'm ready to ballroom dance, right? That's where all of that like glitter of life comes in,
Mm.
is by the trauma informed practice of connecting to your intuition. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, that resonates. That totally makes sense. It connecting the intuition. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, it's been brilliant. Okay, so having been through, you've been in Next Level Freedom, you've been in coach training, now you're resigning as an alumni to stay with us this next year. You have a
I'm a
lot of
repeat offender.
experience.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna do. I mean, this is where we're starting from. I'm so excited to see where you're going to be in a year with this as your starting place and continued support. So, who do you think? Who would you say trauma informed physician coach training is for?
Someone who wants to say yes to life, right? Someone who's ready for, and maybe you're not ready. Actually, that may be it. Like you're kind of like not sure where your life takes you. Come to coaching because this is where we figure it out, you know. Or if you kind of know what you want but don't know how to get there, this is where we talk about how to get there.
It's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
So, I think if you're listening on this call and you felt a little spark or glimmer at this idea of saying yes to life, some anything that Case said, then this is for you. And we figure out the details. We figure you don't even have to have an hour or a free week. We will figure out your schedule and we figure out the rest together. You don't have to do it alone. Okay. Before you started, did you like if you remember when you before you started coach training, did you have any particular reservations? And if so, how would you address them now?
I think like anyone, I think the reservation is money or cost. I didn't have any like, I think this is the right thing. I knew that it was the right thing. It was for me, money, but it was easily, and I think that's why I did like a little bit of time. I did the group coaching. Oh, this was good. And then I did the TIPCT advanced. So I can say with the benefit of someone looking back that this
Mm-hmm.
is the best investment ever.
Mm.
When I was there, I wasn't quite sure, but I did it
Before you
anyway.
signed up, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I was kind of debating, I
Okay.
wasn't
Okay.
sure. I had the benefit of knowing how you've helped me in group coaching. So I
Mhm.
kind of had that like, oh, if I got results with group coaching, I'm sure I'm gonna get more results with,
Mhm.
the coach certification. And I think that actually, yeah, I think that certification was an added allure because I like to collect certifications. But so yeah, but honestly, so it's an investment, right? It's an investment. I think just like anything that creates positive change in our life, it's an investment to improving myself. And again, as you can see, I'm a repeat offender, so there is zero doubt now about the ROI.
Mm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. What's so interesting hearing you say that is the decision you could hear that at the beginning there was the doctor brain that was like not sure, like looking for, which is what the left brain does. There's nothing wrong. I'm not sure, will I get an ROI? These are good questions. We never get mad at our brain. And then there was a part of like, and also there's something like glittery over here. There's something I want. This I've gotten I like this feeling, I like this space. So I just love that from the beginning, you have been able to kind of sort these out. And we just focused on keep connecting and growing your connection to your intuition. And incredible.
I like
Okay.
that growing connection to my intuition.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think you've ever described it that way, that I've heard it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you said it.
Well, just like we invented TIPCT today, I wanted it is the work. It is like how this all works. So we trace back your tripled salary, the ballroom dancing. It really comes down to when you had a decision point, a fork in the road, and your left brain was let's work harder, let's keep pushing. And your intuition was like, maybe I want to transition to group. We just kept following every chance your intuition, and then we built strategy for your brain, your left brain. And I think
Mhm.
together it's a beautiful combination. Okay, so anything else? Did we miss anything? Anything else you want to say?
Well, so one thing, I don't know if you want to, so one of the things I love about Tip City is the Voxer, the yeah,
Me too.
the personal access for X number of, weeks at
Hmm.
being in the beginning. So that was amazing. And, it's kind of like taking Christina home for a little bit. And that was super helpful. Like a lot of, I mean,
tell
so
tell the
yes, yeah.
group. Some people don't. So Voxer is asynchronous private support. So it's sort of like Case would sort of like give me a voice memo of what's going on, and then I could Voxer her right back. I could send something back to her, so she didn't have to wait for the group calls. She could get support in between sessions. So tell us about like what was the breakthrough? How was that an ROI?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just having that awareness that I can have that support if I choose to, right, was good. In case something happens, and I know that I can always use that tool. And two, and I kind of can't remember a specific incident, but that we talked about. But I know that there were just some like I had some oh my God, that's true. So that was super helpful. Like, just on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just for those that don't know, like you work us through a different types, right? We can write down our thoughts and and submit to
Right.
or content review, write down our we have our monthly kind of journaling that you so that's again written
Yeah.
down, and then us reflecting, and then you giving us your feedback. So this was another layer because it was like, it's on my thought. I didn't have time to process it just yet, but it's overwhelming. So let
Mm-hmm.
me ask Christina. So that was kind of helpful where we can have all those different ways of I process it and then you give a reflection. I process it and put it in paper and you
Yeah.
give a reflection, so and then
Yeah.
this one is more immediate. No,
I
I
love it. It's my favorite feature too. As the coach, I love it. So for the listeners, Voxer is sort of like having an expert coach on call for you. It's a little bit like that. You send something and they get something back. Why I like it as the coach, by the way, I mean, I just feel like I got to know you guys so much better. I was able to provide strategy and resources like customized to you so much better. But what I really, really, really like it is for listeners, I think about my clients all the time. Like I'm always thinking, oh, what about this? What about this? I actually had a dream about one of my clients last night. I had an idea. My intuition was like, tell her this. This is her marketing strategy breakthrough, which I've done for you too. And I was like,
yes.
okay, I'm going to Voxer her right now.
Yes, you
So
have done that. Yes,
I,
now I remember it now. Like you like,
yeah,
oh, I was walking and I thought of you and here's my thought for
here's an
you.
idea. Or I just saw your post. I love this thing. I think
Yeah.
here's something else you can try.
Yeah.
So I love it because I consider it love notes on the fly. And there's real advantage, strategic advantage to having an expert business coach look at your stuff and be able to say, and try this, and here's something else to add, and consider this, or also on the personal support side.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that you love that. Wow. Anything else you wanted to mention that we hadn't got to yet?
No, I think I gave my entire life story. I'm
Oh,
just joking.
so good. I am obsessed with this. What's next for you and your stretch goals? What are we looking at next?
Yeah, so for me, I always kind of like differentiate into business and personal. So my business goal would be to help as many midlife women going through perimenopause, menopause, and weight, and show them the power of groups
Hmm.
along with one-on-one sessions with me in my medical practice. Um, so increase my patient panel. That's the one thing. Um, from a personal side, it would be I really want to travel more. So that's
Mm.
gonna be on my to-do list or
So
bucket list.
interesting. Your exchange student, like that might have been part of that spark, that sparkle of let's start
Yes,
like
that definitely
expanding our
was.
world.
Yes. I think my statement back then was like I couldn't travel then, or obviously that's a thought, but I couldn't travel because I was building my business, whatever.
Mhm.
So I said, I'll just bring travel to
Ah,
me.
such genius, just genius. Well, I'm sure people are going to listen to this and they are going to want to find you and work with you, and they would be so lucky to do that. Can you tell us about your offers, how people can find you? And we'll include all that in the show notes too.
Yeah, sure. Yes. So I have a medical practice in the state of Pennsylvania, and I help women, successful career-driven women who are amazing at everything in life, but struggle with perimenopause, menopause symptoms, and weight. I help them feel better. And I use the 4M pillar approach, meals, movement, mind, and meds to create that best life and sustainable weight loss. I am also a speaker. I speak at or companies, any really spreading the science about menopause, perimenopause, and really approaching it from an evidence-based, science-based
Mm.
approach. And more importantly, how can we help it? How can we help treat it? How can we help spread awareness and reduce stigma for women in the workplace? Yeah, yeah,
Amazing. Now, this is another point we didn't really get to, but in this last minute, you are a physician coach. You're certified. You have all the board, all the certifications, and you work with more than just women doctors. Is that right? Like if someone was a lawyer and wanted to lose weight, would
yes,
you be able to?
yep,
So,
yeah,
because I think a lot of people say, "Oh, physician coaching, I only work with coaches." When I talk about physician coaching, I mean physicians who also coach, and then you can choose to work with physicians or not. But so you work with everyone. We will link your offer below so people can find you and follow you, and they would be so lucky to be your clients. Thank you so much, Case. This
yeah,
was incredible. I love that we're connected for life.
yes.
Bye.
Bye.